Today on Jumpstart Hobbies, I'm going to talk about how I took this old, poorly lit, messy space I used to call an art room and turned it into this brand new YouTube studio. But first, let's break down how we got here. I've been buying equipment to increase the production level of my YouTube content, so much so that I needed more space. That's where my art room comes in. What once was a room full of liquid pour acrylics, oil canvases, and miniature commission jobs would be transformed into a dedicated space for video creation. So how did I do it? I made a plan. I began sketching ideas on paper that turned into a cardboard and paper mock-up, which then turned into a digital 3D model I could use to test the layout. After coming up with the initial design, I made a list of things I needed to do. Paint the walls, paint the tables, black out the windows, install acoustic panels, improve the lighting, refill the room, and organize everything. And with the list made, I started cleaning out the room. I began with cleaning the 3D printer so it was ready for moving. I carried out the printer, wash station, and all the tools I use for printing. Then I removed the airbrush station, the compressor, and all the airbrushing accessories on the table. With every trinket cleaned off, I finally removed the table itself. I repeated this process for every table, shelf, and drawer in the room, emptying out each corner of the room until it was ready to sweep the empty floors. After a good cleaning of the floors, it was finally time to start painting the walls. I chose an interior paint called Quicksilver, thinking it was a lighter gray. It turned out a little bluer than I expected, but I was happy with it in the end. Hours of painting later, and the room was looking good as new. While the interior paint was drying, I took to the garage to give all the tables a fresh black look. After a good cleaning, I used the trusty old Rust-Oleum Matte Black 2X paint and primer. Hopefully this will look good and work well for filming under studio lighting. After a couple of coats and more than a couple of cans of spray paint, I lock it in with Rust-Oleum's matte varnish spray and leave everything to dry. Next, I removed the old, dull ceiling fan and replaced it with a new LED ceiling light. Once the lights were installed, I placed the new curtains over the windows, cooling the room and allowing me to control the lighting. When the tables were ready, I moved them back into the room and placed them according to my test models. Then I added acoustic panels around the room to help dampen the echo and give it that cool studio look. I use a roll of LED lights to line the back of the tables, hoping to create a cool glowing effect. This is how the RGB lights along the wall and ceiling look after installation. And this is how bright the new ceiling light is in the room. With acoustic panels and lighting installed, I start filling the room back up with all my gear. 3D printer, washing station, airbrush booth, paint racks and other supplies, gaming PC, monitors, and accessories, plus all my extra storage. I use one wall as a tripod cloth backdrop and set my new tripod and teleprompter into position. This is how everything looked once the room was finished. And this is the kind of view I can get from now on. So how much did all this cost, you ask? Well, let's make a list. I had some of the stuff previously, but I'll assume you wanted to build what I have here from scratch. So we've got paint and curtains, $100, tables, $200, room lighting, $100, backdrop and light boxes, $160, tripods, $200, teleprompter, $200, iPad for the teleprompter, $70, lav mic, $30, and the acoustic panels were $40 for a grand total of $1,100. If you don't have a gaming PC, my setup could be recreated for around $1,800, but you could buy a used lower tier PC for about $1,200. Hopefully this gives you an idea of how easily you could make your own dedicated filming space. I went with budget options on most of my gear, but you could build a more streamlined setup for much less. My next big purchase will be the Sony ZV-E10 camera because I'm currently still filming everything on an old iPhone XR. This has been a fun project, and hopefully in the future the channel will have a more professional look since I'll be filming in my very own YouTube studio. Pro tip, Amazon affiliate links for everything in the video are in the description below. Like, comment, subscribe, click this video, and until next time, we'll see y'all later. Oh, I swear if that did not record,